We're recording.
Hi guys, I'm Ellie Televian, radio presenter, mother, DJ and hypnotherapist. I work with We Are Hummingbird and I'm really excited to be here today for Fuel Your Mood Festival. We're really pleased the Julian Campbell Foundation have invited us along and we are very excited about the interview we've got in store for you right now with Jumpin Jack Frost and Mr. Ian Hurst.
Thank you very much, Ellie. Yeah, welcome. Thanks for having us, everybody. My name's Ian Hurst. As said, I'm one of the co-founders and directors of We Are Hummingbird, which is a mental health and suicide prevention non-profit. Really pleased to be here today to help talk to you guys about mental health and understanding more about what it's like from possibly a fresh, modern approach, looking at lots of bold colours, music, and yeah, a slightly different way of thinking about your mental health. And as Ellie said, we're joined by the absolute legend, DJ Jumpin Jack Frost, someone that I grew up with, sorry to say, a bit older than me, listened to all his great music when he was doing the rave scenes as well. An author now and a real advocate for mental health, and more importantly, a brilliant ambassador for We Are Hummingbird. So, DJ Jumpin Jack Frost, how are you doing? Tell us a bit about you.
I'm good. Well, I'm Jumpin Jack Frost. I'm a DJ, producer, author, podcaster, and advocate for mental health. And thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Looking forward to spending the time chatting to you.
Awesome, amazing. Thank you so much, Jumpin Jack Frost. Now, the purpose of today is to really talk about what it was like growing up in London and kind of mental health at that time when you were younger and where you're at now with your mental health and being able to approach it and address it. So tell us a little bit, like give us a snapshot of what it was like for you growing up in London. I know you're in Brixton now, aren't you?
Yeah, I've lived in Brixton all my life.
Oh, wow, okay.
I've lived there all my life. So when I was young, I was always in the streets, like from a very young age, from like 10 years old. I was out in the streets. I was in a little gang, was running around Brixton, getting into a lot of trouble. I used to get in trouble with the police. It was very punishing because, you know, living in this area at that time, we had a lot of trouble with the police and other gangs and stuff like that. So we got into a lot of fights, got into a lot of trouble, and it was quite daunting.
Do you think that was only just because that was the only option that you had at that time?
Yeah, I think because growing up in the area, that's all I knew. That's all I knew. You know what I mean? Like my dad was involved in crime, my uncles. You know, that's the only thing I knew was crime and gangs. That's the only thing I knew. So it just seemed normal to me, you know.
At what point did things change for you, and you made that transition of that no longer being your norm?
Well, I got into a lot of trouble. So I went to boarding school when I was 13 years old out in Berkshire, in Newbury. And I think from then I started to kind of see a different option, a different way of life, that there are different ways to live in a better way. And I think from then, I started to kind of rebuild my character. Do you know what I mean? Even though when I left, I still went back to the street life because I just went back to the gangs, but I was older then, and then the stakes were higher. Sending me to the school did give me an insight into another life. And then after leaving school and coming back into the gang life for another maybe 3-4 years, after I just thought, I don't really want to do this anymore. And then I started looking for other things to do. I don't think if I never went to that boarding school, I wouldn't have ever changed. I'd have been just
really
the street life all the time, forever.
That's a big thing, isn't it? Big thing.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for sharing all of that with us and with our viewers today, because that's like that is quite literally Big, Bad and Heavy, isn't it? Which is the name of your book. That's a lot. Yeah, getting that in there. So were you aware at the time of what impact all of that was having on your mental health, sort of like running with that kind of crew and that kind of gang, and then getting up to that sort of mischief and it escalating? Were you even taking stock as it was all happening?
No, I think at the time it's so normal, and mental health is not like now. Like we speak about our mental health openly now. At that time, especially in the Black community, it's a real taboo. Do you know what I mean? Like people don't really speak about it. If anything, they say, "Oh, look at that mad guy," which is the wrong way to look at it. Do you know what I mean? It's completely the wrong way to look at it. But that's how I grew up looking at it. Like, look at that mad guy. So instead of trying to engage and help someone that's living with difficulties with mental health, we would ostracize them and make fun of them, which is totally the wrong thing to do. Do you know what I mean? So at that point, I had a complete wrong attitude towards it, while not realizing that my own mental health was suffering at the time, because growing up like that and starting to do stupid things like I was doing, it does affect you. Do you know what I mean? It affects you, and it's a build up of it. It has a bad effect on you, and it builds up, and it's only a matter of time before it cracks.
So you completely like just oblivious to, as I guess most people are, most young people are, just oblivious to what it is that you're thinking and feeling, maybe almost a disconnect. You're just going along with the ride, and you don't recall any moments where you're like, do you know what, this is not good, this is not working, or this is making me feel sad, angry, low. Yeah,
after a while, it does have an effect on you. It kind of gives you a mental block. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not good, because you need to express yourself. Do you know what I mean? You always need to express yourself. So I found myself not expressing myself, not communicating with people, and every situation, violence is always the answer, which is totally wrong as well. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's helped you to kind of, so again, thank you for sharing some really deep, heavy stuff there. What's helped you to make life better there? Because it sounds like you've done a lot of things that you obviously don't feel good about. So in what way have you turned that around and been able to give back to your community and actually, you know, stand in your mistakes and go, I've got to change?
Yeah. I think when I started getting into music, you know what I mean? Music saved me. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people say that it's an age-old cliche, but it literally did save me, because I went into music and I met beautiful people, kind people, people that just didn't have that outlook that I was used to growing up. Do you know what I mean? So it gave me an option to be around people that I felt I connected more with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is where my journey started, about rebuilding myself. Do you know what I mean? This is where it started, was being around people that I felt good being around, with good souls, kind hearts, who do good deeds. Do you know what I mean? I started to kind of connect more with people like that. And then when you're around people like that, I thought, this is my tribe. This is where I belong. And that's my journey into that self care and knowing myself, starting from then.
Amazing.
When you surround yourself with good people, it all builds part of your recovery and part of your therapy and part of the ongoing journey. And it's so important to reignite that fire. Is such a big thing in helping someone move forward with their mental health and to understand. It's such a big thing. Absolutely.
With that lived experience, like what I'm keen to know is, looking back on that and still living in Brixton and quite possibly being able to sort of look around and walk down the street and see some of those same mistakes being repeated, right? What interventions do you wish you'd stuck with, or what do you wish was there for you at that time? What do you wish you'd done differently? So there's a young person watching right now.
It's going to come back to something you said earlier, because I used to go to a youth club called United Youth Centre. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
We used to do activities, go off on weekends, go canoeing, play table tennis. It was like a little community, and at one point I became too cool for it as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, I don't want to do that no more. Do you know what I mean? I want to be on the street, but I really wish I stayed there. I really wish. Do you know what I mean? And plus as well, I used to go to the Cubs and the Scouts. Do you know what I mean? I really wish that I stuck with that as well. Do you know what I mean? Because I can't even remember how to tie the knots anymore. You know what I mean? I wish that I really stuck with things like that, because things like that engage with young people so well that it is another option. Do you know what I mean? And it shows you that you don't have to go down that road. Do you know what I mean? Because I really do wish that I carried on going, because I was really good at table tennis as well. Do you know what I mean? I was really good. Do you know what I mean? I was really good at it. So I think that there should be a lot more youth services now, because there aren't as many activities and youth service activities for kids anymore. I think that the government cuts have like taken a lot of that away. It was really important to have.
It shows the importance, doesn't it, of great, foundations like Julian Campbell Foundation and stuff that's going on to help keep kids engaged, because whilst you can't see it at the moment, maybe when you're a child and you're involved, it doesn't feel like it's having any impact or any effect. It so does. It sets all the right foundations. And I think most of us as adults, when we look back, wish that we'd either carried on learning a language or playing an instrument or just stuck involved in sports, because I think what you don't realize at the time is that is an outlet, that is a healthy way in which you can start to improve your mental health, to grow and to kind of move forward in a great way. Yeah, it's so interesting.
It's not just that though, it's also going to those youth groups and those early intervention points. They actually give us all the things that we crave as adults now, which is new friendships with different people that you don't know. So I'm a portfolio worker. I work with different companies, different people, and I love that. That's my vibe. That's my tip. That's what I need, is to see different faces every day. If I was going to the same place every day, working with the same people every day, I wouldn't get energy from that. Like, I love meeting new people. Like, it thrills me, and that's what young people get when they go to those things, right? It is, you get different people, you get structure, you get that organisation, and you get those opportunities, and there's more funding behind certain things. So yes, there have been lots and lots of cuts, but actually it might be at those youth services that you get the opportunity to play an instrument or to have some financial backing behind you to go and do something you really believe in, if your parents aren't in a position to support that. So I love that you mentioned that, and that you were honest about the fact that you were too cool, because I was too cool as well. Like, I mean, I might not look it, but I was definitely, there was a point where I was too cool to go to my youth group. And I wish I had, because my brother and sister, they kept at it, and all of their best friends, their lifelong friends, all people from that same youth group.
Yeah. It's so
well, funny enough, because just before the pandemic, I've reconnected with the youth club that's still there.
Really?
Did you?
Yeah, I've reconnected, and I often go there sometimes and spend an evening there talking to the boys. Do you know what I mean? Because it's still right in the same area, and we've still got the same problem with young gangs here in Brixton. Do you know what I mean? So I go there sometimes and engage with them and try and talk to the kids. Do you know what I mean? I've got a relationship with some of the younger boys there. Do you know what I mean? And it's something that gives me a lot of pleasure. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
that's really amazing. And I guess going to think of this, if you could talk to yourself again now, then on that note where you're going back and going to youth clubs and speaking to local kids from Brixton now, if you could go back and talk to yourself now as you were then, what would you give? What would your advice be? What would you say? What would big Jumpin Jack Frost tell little Jumpin Jack Frost?
Oh my God, I'd say, you know, stick with the activities, stick with the football, stick with the people that you think might not be so cool. The streets, there's no love in the streets. No love in the streets. The streets don't love you. Do you know what I mean? The people in the streets don't love you. Do you know what I mean? It's a dangerous place. And at a young age, it's a rocky road to not a good future.
Yeah.
So stick with the activities, stick with school, stick with, you know, sometimes adults and that might tell you something and you just think, oh, I don't want to hear that from you. Stick with it, you know what I mean? Because adults know better. You might think, oh, they don't, what do they know? But you know, when you get to my age, then you look back and you think, I wish I listened. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing. And is that the sort of advice that you give the young people when you go along to?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Do you know what I mean?
And to sort of ask for help and get that support.
Yeah. And you know, or never feel bad to ask for help if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling low, if something's bad at home. You know, these places are places where you can go and you can speak to people. Do you know what I mean? And it's really important.
Okay. Do you see? Sorry, one more. Do you see that when you're talking with children now? Can you, with the knowledge that you now have around mental health, mental health awareness, and mental illnesses, when you're talking to children or young people in the you know, back in Brixton, are you seeing clear signals that children are experiencing, you know, poor mental health and they're not recognizing it themselves? Are you able to see it now as a third person?
100%, 100%. The attitude of some of the kids. Where I live, you got kids that live across the road that can't walk across the other side because they're 2 different postcodes.
Yeah.
And if they see in that postcode, they'll get stabbed. Now that in itself is a problem. Do you know what I mean? And you know, that attitude causes you to have really poor mental health. You know,
really poor.
Because for you to even think that's acceptable and for it to become normalized in your mind is really bad judgment, and it's going to lead to bad mental health and people getting killed. Do you know what I mean? And it's a bad thing.
Okay, amazing. You've shared so much with us, and I feel like I couldn't love you any more than I do in this moment right now, because I love that you recognize, you know, where you've tripped up, and then you've gone on a different path and a better path, and you're doing all of great stuff like this, like supporting We Are Hummingbird by being an amazing ambassador, going along to that youth group and sharing your wisdom. And you're just an excellent example and advocate of how you can turn it around, and how music is a really great platform to enable someone to do that.
100%.
Your gift is your parties and your music and your DJing and taking part in amazing stuff like this. Is there anything else that you want to add in terms of taking care of your own mental health now? What do you do to take care of yourself?
Well, I have a great therapist as well. I go to see.
Yeah.
He's a hypnotherapist as well. You know,
yeah, we love hypnotherapy.
Yeah, and at first I thought, oh, whatever, really, like, does this really work? But it's really healing, you know. It really does work, you know. It really does work. I come out of there and I feel like I've had a service. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just been serviced, like sorts out.
Buzz.
Do you know what I mean? So just be engaging, speak to people. If you feel like, if you're feeling low, don't keep it to yourself. Talk. You know what I mean? Because there's always people that understand, and you're not the only person that feels like that. Do you know what I mean? You're not the only person. You don't isolate yourself. Try to communicate with. Sometimes find someone else that might not be like a family member that you can talk to, because it's very healthy to just communicate and talk.
Yeah, and especially I'd add on that from a as a child, don't feel that you've got to speak to the first person you kind of make contact with. There's so many people out there with different views and perspectives and outlooks in the world, and you know, just look at us three on the screen, all 3 very different people. You could talk to any one of us 3, or examples of us 3, and we've all got different values, beliefs, backgrounds. So don't just feel that your options are limited. Explore who you can talk to, or you know, reach out to any of us or anyone, and we can then link you on to other people. It's all about feeling comfortable about who you're talking to, and once you find that, it'll be a beautiful thing to sit and talk.
Yeah, and just talking to the right people when you're feeling safe, comfortable. And there's lots of exercises you can do about this, and we've done like a little workshop, which will be Ian and I will be back tomorrow to do a work with your parents about helping you to have healthy conversations with your folks, and thinking of ways of establishing who the right people to talk to are in your network. Because sometimes it surprises you who you actually want to go to with a problem, but it's making sure that they can then signpost you and link you, like Ian said. This has been amazing.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You're an absolute legend. So much. Thank you. Really, real pleasure. I hope everyone's enjoyed it, and thank you for being so open and honest. It's been lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. We hope everybody has an amazing day, and thanks again to the Julian Campbell Foundation for having us. That has been brilliant. Jumpin Jack Frost, you are a legend.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ellie. Thanks, Jumpin Jack. Speak to you later. Bye.
See you later.